If you want cheap Microsoft points and game codes, check out g2a.com. Link is in the description below.
Hey guys, it's Melvin7 here, and today I'm bringing you my BPL predictions, Matchday 30 versus the Mystery C. Now the scores are currently 89 to me and 112 to the Mystery C, so pretty much similar from last time. I think he may have gained 1 or 2 points on me just because of the Crystal Palace result. He said 3-1. Not really sure he thought it would end like it did. Probably should have been more to Palace, but anyway, enough from that. So the first game this week we've got Man City versus West Brom. Now Man City obviously getting dumped out of the Champions League, getting beaten by Burnley 1-0 at home. I was going to predict them to do that, but I didn't want to sound biased or whatever, and yeah, I didn't, and that was kind of stupid. But I did also say in my match preview that I wouldn't be surprised to see City drop points, and they did, which I'm over the moon by. Now, are they going to do it again? They are at the Etihad, and they're going to have to step up because Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, right behind them, alright? And there's crucial games for all top 4 contenders, so they're going to need points. I think they'll edge this game. It won't be a massive whitewash, but I think they'll edge it 2-1. I really hope they do drop points though, but I'm going to say 2-1 City. In the next game, we've got Aston Villa versus Swansea. Very, very good fixture this, to be honest. Swansea very unlucky in a 1-0 defeat away to, well, at home to Liverpool, and Aston Villa obviously destroying Sunderland 4-0. So, Villa are at home. They're going to be the favourites, but Swansea have been pretty decent recently. So, for that reason, I'm going to say this is going to be a draw. I reckon it's going to be a relatively even game. I think there'll be a couple of goals, so I'm going to say 1-1, literally. A couple of goals, 2 goals, 1 apiece. In the next game, we've got Newcastle, who have 13 fit players, apparently, for this fixture, so they're going to have to delve into their youth academy against Arsenal. Arsenal 3-0 victory over West Ham, a little bit flattering, but they did play very well and ultimately did deserve the result, and they beat Monaco 2-0, but obviously were dumped out on away goals. Newcastle on the other hand got beat 3-0 to Everton, and they have 1 fit centre-back, so I can only see 1 result. I'm going to go 4-0 Arsenal. I cannot see Newcastle withstanding the pressure from Arsenal, the counter-attack, the pace. I just can't see it happening. I hope it does, but 4-0 Arsenal is my prediction. In the next game, we've got Swansea going up against Burnley. Now, this, again, did I say Swansea? Sorry, Southampton versus Burnley. Southampton getting a nice 1-1 draw against Chelsea. Very solid, especially since it's at Stamford Bridge. Burnley, on the other hand, beating City. So, good results for both sides, but it's at St Mary's. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals, but I think Southampton will edge it. I'm going to say 1-0. It'll be a very close game. But City are a completely different proposition for Burnley towards Southampton. So for that reason, I'm going to say that Burnley aren't going to counter-attack as much. And I reckon that Southampton will beat them 1-0. Anyway, we'll move on to the next game. So we got Spurs up against Leicester. Now Spurs getting beat 3-0. One of their worst performances of the season. I don't think it's their very worst. They have played equally as bad, if not worse, in other fixtures that they've obviously been beaten quite considerably in. It was definitely our best performance, so going off that, you can't really say too much in terms of Spurs. Leicester, on the other hand, just look as though they're relegated. They really do. A 0-0 draw against Hull in a game they had to win, like, effectively to stay up. So, in my opinion, I'm going to go against what Merson said. He said that Leicester will win 2-1, but I'm going to say that Spurs will win this 2-0. I reckon it'll be a fairly comfortable game. In the next game, we got Stoke going up against Crystal Palace. Now, Pardew's been exceptional for Palace. It's absolutely ridiculous. He beat QPR 3-1. Very, very solid performance. 3 goals in the first half for Crystal Palace, something they haven't managed in years, I think. Stoke, on the other hand, lost 1-0 to West Brom away. So it's going to be a very tight game, very cagey affair in my opinion. And I don't think there's going to be any goals in this, to be honest. I'm going to say 0-0. I generally reckon both teams will be happy with a point. I mean, they've really got hardly anything to play for apart from league position, I suppose, making it a bit higher. So yeah, 0-0 in my opinion. In the next game, we got West Ham going up against Sunderland. Now, Sunderland obviously sacked Gus Poyet on the back of that 4-0 loss, and they've hired Dick Advocate. All I know is that he's won league titles with 3 different teams, but they seem to be at the top of their divisions, their respective divisions. For instance, Celtic, I think he's won it a couple of times with them. I don't know a great deal about the guy, I'm not going to lie. West Ham obviously getting beat 3-0 to Arsenal. They are really going to want to turn around their form, because it's just went down, honestly. It's been a sinking ship 3rd to 10th in 3 months. Not very good for West Ham fans, but I think they'll get something in this game. Well, to be honest, if they don't, then their season's definitely over. I reckon it's going to be a walk in the park for West Ham. 2-0, I'm going to say. In the next game, we've got Liverpool going up against Manchester United. The biggest game in the English Premier League, in my opinion, and many people's opinion. Obviously, Manchester United fans and Liverpool fans will agree, but a hell of a lot of people will as well, and this time it's got a lot more at stake. Traditionally, Man United would have been ahead of Liverpool, and Liverpool wouldn't have been playing they wouldn't have been playing for much. Obviously, before that, it was a reverse. So there's never been a fixture, really, where we've both been contesting, at least in the last, 10, 15 years. So we're both contesting for that top 4 spot, and this makes it unbelievable, alright? This is going to be such a big game, and coming off the back of our best performance in 18 months, we're going to be full of confidence, but it's Anfield, and we've got to remember that, alright? Ferguson, I think we've had the best win. We've won the most games at Anfield of any BPL side, any other BPL side, but still, it's going to be extremely difficult. Even Ferguson struggled against these, and Liverpool are in sparkling form, undefeated in the league in 2015, so it's going to be a very, very tight game, Actually, I think it's going to be a very open game, but both sides are going to be going for it, and it's just so hard to predict. Everyone believes, most people that I know, including the Mr. AC, who says Liverpool will win 3-0, think Liverpool will win. And that suits me, to be honest. I like being the underdogs because it'll piss off people more if we win, which I think we've got every chance of doing. I mean, if you look at Liverpool, 3-4-1-2, if we play 4-3-3, and we play it well, where we don't make any stupid defensive errors like Jones did in the second minute against Spurs, then we've got every chance because we can hit them on the counter, we can try and draw their fullbacks out, etc. But anyway, enough of tactics, we'll get on to my prediction. I reckon it's going to be very entertaining 2-2 draw. I reckon either side can win it, and whichever one does is obviously in pole position for top 4, but it's not over because we've still got to play Chelsea, City and Arsenal. Liverpool still have to play, I don't know if it's City, but they definitely have to play Arsenal in the next game. And I think they play Southampton, or they play teams around them, basically. Every team does in the top 6. So it's going to be very, very tight and contested, and I'm going to say 2-2. In the next game, we've got Hull up against Chelsea. Now, everyone that I know thinks Chelsea are going to walk this, and while I think they're going to win, I don't think it's going to be a huge amount, to be honest. They haven't looked amazing since 2015, to be honest. They've been winning, but obviously they lost on aggregate to PSG, and they just look slow in their build-up play, which is something they didn't look in the opening half of the season. I think they're going to easily win the league. I mean, they're miles ahead, but I don't think their performances are going to be particularly exhilarating, so I'm going to say a 1-0 win for Chelsea. I reckon they'll get a goal and sit back. Mourinho will be happy with the points because obviously, that puts them in an even more commanding position for the league. In the next game, we've got QPR, the last game of the week, QPR going up against Everton. Now, Everton won 3-0 against Newcastle and then get battered by Dynamo Kiev 5-2 away. So, very unpredictable. Yes, the pitch that they were using wasn't very good, alright, but still, that's no excuse. The defending was abysmal. And if they do that against QPR, there's not really that much of a problem, to be honest. QPR don't seem to be very good at much things at the minute. Like, them and Leicester seem as though they're already relegated. Like, there's no fighting spirit. They just get battered. They got battered by Crystal Palace, and Sean Wright-Phillips obviously getting what should be goal of the season. I don't think anything will beat that, but really that's the small consolation they're going to pay for relegation, in my opinion. So Everton will win this comfortably. I think it's going to be like another Newcastle scenario. They'll take their chances because they've got finishers like Romelu Lukaku. So I'm going to say 3-1 to Everton. Let's compare my predictions with the Mystery Seas.
Right, so comparing the results side by side, there's a few similar ones and a few ones that we're quite far apart on. So anyway, Man City, we think Man City are both going to scrape 2-1 wins or just win. Villa, he thinks that Villa will lose 2-1, whereas I say 1-1 draw. We both think Arsenal will win comfortably against Newcastle. He says 3-0, whereas I say 4-0. Southampton versus Burnley, he says 2-0 Southampton, whereas I say 1-0 Southampton. Stoke Palace, he says is going to be an entertaining 2-2 draw, whereas I say 0-0. Spurs versus Leicester, we both say 2-0. Comfortable win for Spurs there. West Ham versus Sunderland, he says 3-1. I say 3-0. Liverpool Man United, I say 2-2 draw, whereas he thinks we'll get battered 3-0. I hope both of us are wrong, and I hope we beat Liverpool by preferably as much as we possibly can. But anyway, Hull versus Chelsea, he thinks Chelsea are going to walk it 4-0, whereas I say 1-0 to Chelsea. In QPR versus Everton, we both think Everton will win 3-1. So yeah, there are our predictions. Let me know yours in the comments. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and peace.